Kiki debuted in 2025. But almost nothing about them looks like it. On the 10th of February 2025, a set of social media accounts appeared with almost nothing on them. No lineup, no debut date, no music. Just posts of random objects with Kiki stamped across them. Nothing in it explained who the group was. People found it funny and strange, which seemed to be the point. Then on February 16, a music video went up for a song called I Do Me. The members still had not been introduced. When the names finally came, there were 5 of them: Jiu, Lee Sol, Sui, Ha-eum, and Kia. Jiu came from Busan and took the leader position, handling vocals, rap, and dance without leaning on any one of them. Lee Sol was the oldest, with a low, husky tone that ended up carrying most of the group's rap parts. She and Sui had both trained under SM Entertainment before landing at Starship, with Sui coming in as the steadiest singer of the 5. Ha-eum arrived from acting and ballet, having studied performance through high school. And Kia, the youngest, was born in December 2010, which made her 14 when the video went up. She had studied Korean traditional dance, worked as a child model, and passed through Source Music and P Nation before Starship.
그러면 나는 간다. 안녕.
The song itself arrived on February 24. It sat at the top of YouTube's trending list in Korea for 2 days straight and pushed onto the domestic charts, which is not where a group with no history usually lands. In February 23, they had put out a second video called Debut Song, made to celebrate a debut that had not happened yet. So by the time the actual debut came around, the group was already a month old in public. The name was out there. The songs were out there. The 5 members were the last part to arrive. The 24th of March 2025 made it official. Kiki debuted with their first mini album, Uncut Gem, and held a showcase at Blue Square MasterCard Hall in Yongsan, Seoul. The album title carried the pitch, a stone that had come out of the ground and never been finished. At the showcase, the members went straight at that idea. They described themselves as more interesting for being unpolished. That ran against almost everything happening around them. K-pop in 2025 sold polish. Clean lines, controlled styling, everything perfected before the public saw it. Kiki walked in selling the opposite and used their own name to back it up. In Korean, Kiki is the sound of a giggle. In English, it points at the word ki, which Starship tied to finding the answers to life while keeping a smile on. The visuals matched. I Do Me had been shot across New Zealand, wide fields and dirt and sky, with styling that people started calling a country girl look. Debut Song was filmed in England. Both videos looked closer to found footage than to a debut rollout. The songs underneath were doing something else. I Do Me moved fast and hit clean, built around a chorus you could catch on the first listen. After the album dropped, they put out a video for the B-side BTG, which came harder and sat closer to hip-hop, giving the group a second face inside the same release. Then came the part that ended the conversation about concept. Less than 2 weeks after debut, Kiki took first place on Show Music Core with I Do Me. The encore stage spread online that same night, mostly because all 5 of them sang it live and sounded good doing it. From March through June, they sat at number 1 in Rookie Idol brand reputation 4 months running. Brand deals came in across fashion, beauty, finance, and food, which is usually a second-year problem for a rookie group. By the middle of 2025, the group's official website had turned into something else entirely. It looked like an old online marketplace. Bare layout, plain listings, secondhand items lined up for sale. Old DVDs and camcorders and whatever else was sitting on somebody's shelf. Clicking the listings opened small activities where fans could make digital friendship bracelets and film posters. The site named the idea itself Anemoya, described there as missing a time you were never alive for. The youngest of the group was born at the end of 2010. The decade they were recreating had already closed before she even existed. Dancing Alone arrived on the 6th of August 2025, and it fit the room the website had built. Warm and bright, tilted toward the sound of an older summer. The teasers looked like handheld footage of teenagers riding bikes and passing DVDs around in school uniforms. The video was shot in Vancouver, which meant 3 releases in, they had already filmed in 3 countries. 2 weeks later, on August 19, they released the song again, 4 times over. The remix EP came from Park Moon Chi, and it split Dancing Alone into a 90s version, a 2000s version, a 2010s version, and a 2020s version. Same song, 4 decades, each one rebuilt to sound like it came out then. Dancing Alone traveled well past their own fan base. At the end of the year, both NME and Dazed placed it among the best K-pop tracks of 2025. What made the setup work is that the world was never just a poster. Fans could sit inside it, browse the listings, click through the junk, make something, and keep it. Every era gave people a place to spend time before the music even arrived. Then, on November 4, they slowed everything down. To Me From Me came out and moved at a completely different pace. It sat quiet and soft, closer to a ballad than anything they had put out. It was also the first single off an album that would not arrive until January. It arrived alongside a web novel called Dear X, Tomorrow's Me to Today's Me, with the 5 members written in as the leads, crossing into another world and trying to find the way home. 4 releases in, they had borrowed from as many decades. And the year still had one more turn left in it. The awards started arriving in August and did not stop. On December 6, at the Asia Artist Awards, they took Rookie of the Year and Best Performance on the same night. 2 weeks later at the Melon Music Awards, I Do Me won Best Music Video. The Hollywood Reporter closed out the year by putting the same song on its list of the best K-pop tracks of 2025. By the time the season closed, 7 rookie trophies had stacked up. Then on December 31, a teaser went up with one line attached. In the quiet, a Delulu begins. The website changed again. The garage sale was gone. In its place sat something called Delulu World. On the 26th of January 2026, Kiki released their second mini-album, Delulu Pack, led by 404 New Era. Anyone following the concept expected another trip backward. The video gave them one. Childhood footage, an old media player frame, and a line across the screen asking to be a 2000s pop star. The upload date in the corner even read the year 2000, which is 26 years off from the day it actually came out. But the song did the opposite. A club track, a hard dance beat built for a floor, sharp and current, with Lisol calling everyone out to move and Jiu cutting through the middle of it. The song took the internet's most familiar error message and turned it into a way out. The video was shot in Sydney, which put a fourth country behind them in under a year. It moved immediately. 404 New Era reached number 1 on the Melon Top 100 16 days after release, then took the Melon Weekly chart and held it 2 weeks straight. It gave them their first entry on the Billboard Global 200. On music shows, they collected 3 wins before promotions ended in the middle of February. The song kept going after they stopped. Artists and creators picked up the challenge, and the choreography spread as a meme. The chorus went viral on its own, showing up under clips from people who had no idea whose song it was. Somewhere in there, the shape of Kiki became easier to see. The packaging kept reaching back. Dial-up websites, film grain, secondhand furniture, the visual language of a decade the members had missed. The music kept reaching forward. Whatever was moving on dance floors that year, they were on it early. 2 directions running at once, out of the same 5 people. That gap is why they stopped fitting neatly into 2026. On May 16 and 17, 2026, Kiki held their first fan concert. They called it Kiki Festival, 2 nights at Blue Square in Seoul, with the second show streamed for everyone watching from somewhere else. They pulled out album tracks that had never been performed and put together stages made only for that room. 14 months after debut, they were finally in front of the people who had followed all of it, playing to faces instead of cameras. 2 months later, Billboard published its list of the best K-pop songs of 2026 so far. 25 songs, covering a year that had already seen comebacks from BTS, EXO, and Blackpink. And 404 New Era was number 1. Plenty of groups talk about a new era arriving. Kiki walked in claiming they would be the ones running it, and the performances made the claim hold. 5 days later, the website changed one more time. This version came dressed as a travel agency. 6 time periods sold as a package tour, each with its own theme and the 5 members standing in as the guides. Visitors typed in a name, a departure point, and a date, and the site printed them a boarding pass with the destination listed as Waikiki. The visuals pulled from old beauty ads, old phone ads, teen films, and magazine spreads. The album landed on the 10th of August 2026. Waikiki, 6 tracks, led by Pop Off Pop Off. The title track came out bright and loud, the kind of song built for a festival stage rather than a headphone listen. So the pattern held. Sell the past as somewhere you can visit. And put a current song inside it. 4 eras in. None of them look related. But all of them sound like the same group. Kiki have been around for less than 2 years. In that time, they have handed people a fake garage sale, a fake travel agency, a web novel, a nostalgia they were far too young to have earned, and songs that kept landing on lists made by people who do not usually notice rookies. The retro is the door. The music is the room. That split runs through every release they have put out, and it is why nothing they make sounds stuck in place. They named themselves after a laugh, called their first album Unfinished, and dressed like a decade none of them lived through. And somehow, that is why a group barely 2 years old sounds like they have been here the whole time,